Okay, you have seen the title of this video, and so you know where I'm going to go. Yes, I'm going to make the case that Poland mostly sucks at sports. And I can hear you already. I know what you're saying. You're saying that I suck, that I mostly suck at making YouTube videos. And what about this? And what about that? And yeah, I hear you. I know. But let me just ask one thing. Let me make my case first, and then you can tell me that I suck. Okay? Let's get started. Right. So it's only fair that we start with the positive side of Poland's sporting accomplishments because there are a lot of them. Poland has a lot to be proud of. And when I say Poland mostly sucks at sports, I'm talking about today or recently, not since the beginning of time. So I think most of Poland's highest achievements in the world of sports are well behind us, but they do deserve a mention. So let's take a look, and we will start about 70 years ago. So during the Cold War, Poland was a legitimate sporting powerhouse because in the communist era, sports were a tool of state prestige, and the accomplishments of Polish athletes in boxing, athletics, football, and more were well known and well respected. I think Poland peaked at the 1976 Summer Olympics in Montreal when they finished sixth in the medals table, ahead of much larger countries like France and the UK. The 70s was also a golden era for Polish football when they finished third at the 1974 World Cup. They won Olympic gold in 1972, silver in 1976. Poland was also a dominant force in European and world boxing in the 50s and 60s, often outperforming the Soviet Union. That reminds me, I made a video all about the most famous Polish boxer of them all, famous for all the wrong reasons. So take a look when you get a chance. But don't do it now. Don't do it now. I want you to hear my case for why Poland mostly sucks at sports. Let's do this first, but then later, watch my video about the foul pole. Hey, everybody, a quick interruption here to ask that you subscribe to this channel so I can tell my wife that I have a real job. Thanks for that, and thanks for watching. So anyway, after the 50s, 60s, and 70s, the 80s, 90s, and whatever we call the decade after that were mostly quiet times when it came to Polish sports. And that's why I say we are about 50 years, half a century past the peak of Polish sporting achievement. And listing the highlights from the last 20 or 25 years doesn't take long. In the last 15 years or so, the Polish men's national volleyball team has consistently been among the world's elite teams, winning back-to-back world championships. Adam Małysz was a world champion ski jumper, but that was about 20 years ago now. Poland is home to Robert Lewandowski, one of the truly elite footballers of the last 2 decades or so, even though his presence on the national team has produced nothing, something I'll get to in just a minute. Iga Świątek, the tennis player, is dominating the world of women's tennis with 6 Grand Slam titles as I'm recording this, a number that will surely rise in the future. And that's basically it. With the exception of the men's national volleyball team, everything has been an achievement by an individual, which to me suggests exceptional individual talent and not a system or an organization dedicated to producing champions. Okay, now let's look at Poland's success in amateur sports at the Olympics. Poland is ranked 21st in all-time medals won at the Olympics, 18th in the Summer Games, 24th in the Winter Games. Now, these are very respectable numbers, but they are mostly built on the successes of 50, 60, 70 years ago. For example, since the year 2000, there have been 6 Winter Games. The 2026 Winter Games are happening the week that I'm recording this, which is why we're talking about this now. In those 6 Winter Games, Poland has won a total of 19 medals. And of those 19 medals, 13 of them were won by just 3 people. 2 ski jumpers and a cross-country skier. Again, exceptionally talented individuals and not the product of a system that regularly produces top performers. Since the year 2000, there have been 7 Summer Olympic Games, and Poland has won a total of 81 medals, or an average of about 11 or 12 at each Games. Now, that's less than half of what Poland won at every Summer Olympics in the 1960s and 1970s. So today, in an age where there are almost 3 times more events in the Summer Olympics, that is 3 times more opportunities to win a medal, Poland wins about half as many medals as it did 50, 60 years ago. Something has changed, and the numbers tell the story. Think about this. In the all-time medals table, Poland has won 23 medals at the Winter Olympics. 23. Slovenia has won 24. Slovenia has 2 million people. Slovenia did not exist at the Olympics until 1992. Something is wrong. So I'm going to start making my case that Poland mostly sucks at sports today, and I will start by comparing it with its neighbors. Now, I think this is a fair comparison because Poland shares the same climate with its neighbors, many of the same geographical characteristics, and is very similar to all of its neighbors in the context of its general environment for producing sporting excellence, right? But a simple examination of outcomes shows that Poland is still far behind them. Okay, let's start with the Polish national men's football team, arguably the most high-profile example of any sport in Europe. In the last 9 World Cups, Poland has qualified for 4 of them. And of those 4 times, they failed to get out of the group stage 3 times. In the 2022 World Cup in Qatar, they did make it to the round of 16, before losing to then world champion France. So in the last 30 years at the World Cup, Poland has 1 respectable performance out of 4 appearances and 5 failures to even qualify. In the last 9 European Championships, Poland has qualified 5 times, once because they were the hosts. In those 5 qualifications, they have finished last in their group 4 times. In 3 of those 4 last place finishes, they got 1 point from 3 matches. Let me say that again. In 5 appearances, Poland got 1 point from 3 matches 3 times. So in the last 30 years at the European Championships, Poland also has 1 respectable performance out of 5 appearances and 4 failures to even qualify. Sorry, I know this is a lot of numbers here, but bear with me. The point is, out of the last 18 international football competitions, Poland has qualified for 9 of them and totally embarrassed themselves 7 times. That is totally unacceptable for any country that considers itself a serious football nation. In 30 years of international football competitions, Poland has advanced from the group twice in 30 years. And much of this comes in the era of Robert Lewandowski, arguably the greatest footballer Poland has ever produced. Now, obviously, this poor record is not his fault, but if Poland can't do better than that with him on the team, how good are they really? And how can they be that bad for so long? In the same time that Poland has qualified for 9 international competitions, Croatia, with 10% of Poland's population, has qualified for 14. How is that possible? Let's look at other sports and compare Poland's performance with that of its neighbors. Look at Germany in the Olympics. They're good at everything, summer and winter. Now, yes, I know Germany has twice as many people, but so what? Population isn't everything, right? If it was, then China and India would win all the time, but they don't. Look at tiny Norway and its 6 million people. How is it possible that they completely own the Winter Olympics? So having 40 million people, roughly 40 million people like Poland has, is no guarantee of success. Okay, just ask Morocco or Uganda. They have about the same number of people. And sure, there are other factors to consider like population and geography, climate, financial resources, culture, and yes, biology. People are different. Still, I think it's fair to ask why Poland is consistently outperformed by nations where population size is the only difference. Because if it's the only difference, shouldn't being so much bigger give Poland an advantage? I guess logically it should, but it doesn't. Again, Croatia, with 10% of Poland's population, is a much better footballing nation, despite all the other factors being basically the same. Why? But again, that's kind of my point. How is it that when we compare Poland with similar countries, I mean, a similar profile and general circumstances for achieving sporting success, and Poland has a population advantage over them, Poland still comes last. Now, let's look at some specific sports and countries that are consistently at the top because of the combination of their natural talents and an organizational determination to succeed. Look at Germany and their football. Look at the Netherlands and their speed skaters. Look at the Czech Republic. 43 Czech tennis players have reached the quarterfinals of a Grand Slam event. 43. The number for Poland is 9. Now, I know I just said population doesn't matter, but the Czech Republic is about a quarter of the size of Poland in terms of population, but they have 5 times more quarterfinalists in the biggest tournaments in tennis. Again, I keep asking the same thing. How is this possible? In the last 30 years, the Czechs have sent about 230 players to the NHL, the elite global league for ice hockey. Little Slovakia next door, with just 5 million people, has sent 85 players to the NHL. In the same time, Poland has sent 4 Polish NHL players at the same time when the Czechs and the Slovaks have combined for more than 300. And Poland has double the population, more than double the population of the Czechs and the Slovaks put together. Is there some reason why the Czechs and the Slovaks should be so good at ice hockey and not Poland? Are the climate and the landscapes so different? I don't think so. So how do you explain this? Look at Ukraine, usually not a part of the conversation when we're talking about ice hockey, but they have sent 14 players to the NHL. Poland, 4, Ukraine, 14. Speaking of Ukraine, remember I told you that Poland is 18th on the all-time list of Summer Olympics medals? Well, Ukraine is just 12 spots behind in 30th place. But Ukraine's first Summer Olympics ever were 30 years ago in 1996. Since Ukraine's first Olympics in Atlanta in 1996, they have won 160 medals. 160. In that same time period, Poland has won 98. Look at Belarus. Belarus, probably the most screwed up country in Europe. Sorry, no offense. Since they appeared in their first Olympics in 1994, they have won 105 medals. And Belarus was not allowed to participate in the 2024 games in Paris because of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. So since 1994, Belarus has 105 medals. In that same time period, Poland has 117, just 12 more, and Poland has competed in 1 more Olympic Games than Belarus. Think about that. Since 1994, Poland's Olympic performance is basically the same as the most dysfunctional country in Europe, a country that has about 9 million people, or about a quarter of what Poland has. And remember Poland's 4 NHL players, ice hockey's highest level? Belarus has 19. How about the Baltic states of Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia? Now, I'm going to combine them here because together those 3 countries have about 6 million people. And do you know how many Olympic medals they've won in the last 30 years? 105, the same as Belarus. Remember that Poland in that same time period has 117. So how is it possible that 3 countries with a combined population of 6 million are basically on the same level as Poland and its 38 million? 3 tiny countries with essentially the same climate, the same geography, and more. Let's stay in the Baltics here for a moment because their performance goes well beyond the Olympics. Tiny Latvia alone, with its 1.8 million people, has produced 27 NHL players. There are 6 in the NHL right now. Again, Poland has produced 4 ever. Now, I mention ice hockey because Poland is literally surrounded by countries that are mad about ice hockey, and yet Poland is basically non-existent on the international stage. I didn't mention it earlier, but even Germany, again, not known for its ice hockey, has produced 46 NHL players. Again, Poland has produced 4, less than 10% of what Germany has produced. How? Why? I'm going to stay in the Baltics because I want to mention Lithuania's basketball program. 3 Olympic bronze medals in a sport where the gold medal is basically impossible to win because of the USA. And Lithuania once lost to the USA by just 2 points. And speaking of basketball, in the last 30 years, tiny Lithuania has produced 18 NBA players. from less than 3 million people. In that same time, Poland has produced 4 NBA players, just like it has produced 4 NHL players. Lithuania's basketball program is a good example of the point that I'm trying to make, because it's the result of a plan, an organization, a mindset in countries that are consistently good at particular sports, decade after decade, regardless of who the players are at any particular moment, because they have a culture that focuses on that sport and an infrastructure that identifies and promotes talent. You can be sure that 10, 15, 20 years from now, the Czechs will be good at ice hockey and tennis, right? Lithuanians will be good at basketball. Germany will be good at everything. Poland will be good at what? Who knows? Because while an elite level individual talent may come along from time to time in Poland, there's no system or culture here that other countries have that makes that country competitive at the highest levels in certain sports year after year. Look at tennis players from Serbia. Look at water polo in Hungary. Hungary is a landlocked nation, and they've won 7 gold medals in water polo. Why? Because they have made a decision to be the best, and they are committed to turning raw talent into gold medals every 4 years. And if they don't, it's a huge failure that they are determined to correct. That is how you win. And in all my years living in Poland, I've never seen this kind of determination to win anything, and I don't understand it. I mean, where do you see that in the sporting landscape in Poland? I know this sounds like an attack. It's not. It's frustration, because I've been thinking about this for years, and I can't find an answer. I can't. I've heard the excuses, and none of them make sense to me. There's not enough government support for sports. Really? You want to tell me that Belarus is more organized and provides more funding for sports than Poland does? Really? Or other excuses about how the young generation is more obsessed with smartphones and computers and video games. Well, what do you think kids in Slovakia or Latvia are like? They're the same. But somehow those two small countries are competitive at the highest levels of ice hockey, while Poland is not. How did that happen? Or other explanations will just say that maybe Poland just doesn't have the talent pool for this. Well, my response is, why not? Does something magical happen at the Polish border when you leave the country in any direction that makes people suddenly have so much more sporting talent outside of Polish borders? That makes no sense at all. I don't know the answer, but I know that the problem is real. Poland really does mostly suck at sports, and I don't know why. Why doesn't Poland have that special something that combines natural talent with organization and a passion for excellence that has produced so much success in other countries? Why are smaller countries with the same or fewer resources so much better at everything? I just don't know. Okay, so if you still think that I suck at making YouTube videos, and I'm totally wrong about this, let me know in the comments. All right, that's my look at why Poland mostly sucks at sports. Again, something I'm just curious about. I'm happy to hear what you have to say. Please like and subscribe if you like what we're doing here at Polsko po Angielsku, and we'll see you next time.